Welcome back to the channel, and GIR report is here. The topic is Israel-US Iran conflict and the Strait of Hormuz. The time frame of this intelligence report is from Jan 2026 to 11 July 2026. So let's start with some of the summary. The core thesis of this war include the defining feature of the 2026 Israel-US-Iran confrontation has not been a territorial conquest, but a competition over strategic geography. There are three main geographic systems that determines this conflict. So moving on, first one, which is Iranian homeland. The nuclear, the missile and the command infrastructure was the main objective. The second objective was the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, which is the global transit. The third is regional US military network. The base is the naval forces, the logistics. Unlike the previous crisis, the Strait of Hormuz has become the operational theater rather than merely a deterrent. Military operations, commercial shipping, diplomacy, and energy market have become tightly interconnected. So here are some verified facts and some news articles which we would see. So firstly, fighting expanded beyond Israeli-Iranian exchange and included direct US-Iran military operations. Nextly, maritime security in Hormuz became central negotiation issue during ceasefire discussion. Thirdly, commercial tankers traffic slowed sharply during period of the heightened tension. So the analytical assessment includes Iranian increased views on Hormuz as a source of conceived leverage, not simply as defensive choke point. The US to prevent Iran from establishing any de facto authority over international shipping. Both sides are attempting to shape future maritime rules without triggering an uncontrollable regional war. Here are some of the latest news as per the reports. Number one, ceasefire effectively broke down. The fact is, President Donald Trump stated that temporary ceasefire with Iran was over, although Washington agreed to continue indirect negotiation with Tehran. Reuters reported that US viewed diplomacy and military pressure as proceeding to simultaneously rather than a mutual exclusive. Strategic meaning or the assessment is this indicates the shift from ceasefire phase to managed escalation. Diplomacy continues, military operation continues. Neither side appears to willing to concede strategically. The second headline is US official demanded a public Iranian commitment to stop attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Safe commercial navigation became the central subject of negotiation mediated by Oman. Strategic meaning, earlier negotiation focused heavily on nuclear issues, sanctions. By July 2026, the immediate priority had become reopening of shipping, reduced attacks on tankers, restoring energy markets, etc. This represents a significant shift from nuclear diplomacy to maritime security diplomacy. The number 3 stands at Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and Oman's Foreign Minister discussed technical mechanism for ensuring safe passage through Hormuz. The negotiation continues at both political and technical level. Strategic meaning, Oman, one of the few trusted intermediaries accepted by both Washington and Tehran. Its role now is centered on deconfliction, shipping agreements, crisis management, rather than a comprehensive political statement. Next is US military pressure continued. The US Central Command completed another round of strike on Iranian targets, saying more than 80 targets had been struck during the latest phase of operation. The strikes followed attack on commercial shipping in Hormuz. Strategic meaning, the US strategy appears aimed at degrading Iranian military capabilities, protecting maritime traffic, deterring further attacks. This doing while avoiding a large-scale ground campaign. Moving further, we got Iranian retaliated against US regional military facilities. The Iran said that it had struck US military targets in the Gulf and continued to present those actionable as retaliation for US attack. Strategic meaning, rather than attempting the direct naval battles with US carriers, Iran continues to rely on missiles, drones, regional strikes capability to impose cost on while reducing the risk of direct conventional confrontation. Following the next, we have commercial shipping remained under pressure. Some of the well-known organizations and firms reported that reduced tanker traffic, continued attack on commercial vehicles, elevated insurance costs, uncertainty over navigation through Hormuz. What does it strategically mean? The economic effect stemmed less from the total physical closure of Hormuz than from uncertainty, high risk premium, delayed sailing, increased shipping cost. Further, we have US messaging became more explicit. The President Trump warned Iran that any attack targeting the US president would trigger the severe military response. The strategic meaning this reflects an effort to strengthen the deterrence by publicly raising consequences of attack on senior US leadership, while signaling the escalation threshold remain in place. The intelligence assessment as of 11 July 2026 is military assessment high intensity but limited direct conflict continues. About diplomacy active but fragile, indirect talk remain open. About Hormuz, the central strategic issue for both sides. About energy markets, highly sensitive to maritime security developments, regional stability, elevated risk of further escalation through Gulf bases and shipping. Some of the key intelligence to watch whether Iran publicly commits to protecting commercial navigation in Hormuz. Any additional US carrier strike groups or bomber deployments into the region. Renewed attack on commercial tankers or energy infrastructures. Omani announcements of further technical or political talks. Statement from US Central Command regarding additional strike or change in force posture. The overall assessment by 11 July 2026, the conflict had evolved into the contest over maritime control and economic leverage rather than territorial gains. The principal point of the contention was no longer solely Iran's nuclear program but the security of Strait of Hormuz, a vitally artery for global energy trade. Both Washington and Tehran continued to combine military operations with diplomatic engagement, suggesting a strategy of cohesive bargaining rather than immediate drive to the forward full-scale war. So in next video we would see some of the key factors what changed this war structure and why the ceasefire have been broken. So thank you. This is the part one of GIR report. So in next part we will discuss the furthermore. Thank you.